Alright, so hi everyone, Foul Play here, and today we are playing Blue-White Bogles. So this deck is a little bit unique to the green version because it gives you access to a lot of card draw and a lot of counter magic, which can be very, very important depending on what decks you wind up versing. So I'm just separating out my auras and creatures, so it's a bit easier to see what the deck's all about here at the moment. Alright, so with this deck, I run 19 lands. I run a total of 8 fetch lands, so it's 3 Flooded Strand, 1 Misty Rainforest, and the 4 Windswept Heath. Should be 4 Flooded Strands, but I'm saving the tickets for more Force of Negations and don't want to efficiency swap the Misty Rainforest out. It just doesn't seem worth it to me. So we also have the 4 Hallowed Fountains, 1 of each basic, so an island and a plains, and then of course the 4 Seacroom Coast and a 1 of Waterlogged Grove for the Horizon lands. I did have more in there, but you run into too many mana inconsistencies if you don't have access to like double blue, double white. Like you won't be able to cast all your card draw auras and hold up Stubborn Denial, or you won't be able to cast your Daybreak Coronet reliably, and it's just better off getting Land Flood and like using your auras to draw you the card quality, right? So creature-wise, we still have Slippery Bogle, our 1/1 hexproof creature. But instead of Glade Cover Scout, we run Invisible Stalker, which is a 1/1 hexproof with unblockable. Really nice, but 2 mana is a little bit of a downtick, but it's a very powerful effect. And I'm only running 2 core Spirit Dancers in this list, just because like I've got the card draw on my auras, so I'll need to rely on core Spirit Dancer much less. So some nice synergies with Invisible Stalker and Curious Obsession. So you're guaranteed a hit with Curious Obsession if your opponent can't block your creature, so that's really nice. Otherwise, if you're going in on a Bogle, I've got 5 instances of flying, so I've got 4 Arcane Flights and 1 Griff Spoon. And you typically turn 1 Bogle, turn 2 flying, plus card draw aura, attack, draw a card, and etc. We also are running the 4 Hyena Umbra for the Totem Armor First Strike, and the 4 Ethereal Armor for its excellent clock that it gives with the 1/1 for each enchantment you control, also First Strike. 4 Daybreak Coronet as well. And over here with Staggering Insight, we have got 1/1 Lifelink, and what it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So similar to Curious Obsession, but it doesn't fall off if you don't attack, and it also gives you Lifelink, which is a really sweet stat. So Force of Negation is really cool, so it can help protect your hand from a Thoughtseize or something, or whatever else your opponent's up to. You can pitch all these blue auras to it. You can also pitch your blue creatures to it, so it's pretty nice. Invisible Stalker can get pitched to it, so that's pretty funky. I'm running 2 Stubborn Denial here because I don't have the tickets yet for the full 4 Force of Negation. And I'm running the full set of 4 Path to Exiles at the moment as well, just because there's a lot of Prowess and Burn decks running around. So with the sideboard, I'm running 3 Leyline of Sanctities. It could be 4, but honestly, like, Force of Negation is like a pseudo Leyline of Sanctity as far as resolving your first creature is concerned anyway. If your opponent just has 1 discard spell, then you play your turn 1 Boggle and it's fine. We've got Hushbringer for those ETB decks looking at you, Skyclave Apparition. Disenchant for Ensnaring Bridge, or I guess enchantment decks as well. We've also got Rest in Peace for graveyard decks, Disdainful Stroke for big mana decks, so like Tron and everything. If you're versing your Eldrazi Tron, I mean, it hits their creatures as well. It's unlike Stubborn Denial, it will hit their creatures. Echoing Truth sort of plays a similar role to the Disenchant, but obviously it can hit multiple targets. Lavinia is kind of sweet. She is basically the blue version of Gadok Teeg. So they can't cast non-creature spells greater than the number of lands they control. So if they have their Tron mana out, obviously they won't be able to cast like a Khan the Great Creator. They'll still be able to cast a Wormcoil Engine, or if they eventually get to 7 mana manually, they only have to tap like 7 worth of Tron mana, so 3 lands, and then the rest of their mana can just be left up. So that's a bit of a downside. The major upside is whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. It's going to be really good against like Gristlebrand deck if we come up against it. Anything with a Summoner's Pact like Amulet, Titan. And yeah, Damping Sphere, just Tron Hate, Storm Hate, that sort of stuff. I've actually got a pretty good win rate on this deck. Of recent times, I'd say it's actually been more consistent than the green version has been. And alright, so let's go ahead and get into this league, find a match, and I will just pull out the right record. Goodness gracious. Alright, it's hiding behind stuff. I'm just going to move up the list here. Wait, that's the wrong one. That one. Alright, so we found our match 1 opponent. And let's see how we go. So yeah, big thing that this deck is trying to do is instead of having like a card like Rancor, which deals that extra damage, it's an aura that deals 2 damage essentially. The card draw auras let you draw more auras, so you'll deal like the damage by just putting down more auras like onto the battlefield, and you'll eventually get a massive creature anyway. Alright, so opponent is a Lurrus deck. They won the die roll. They are Muldrifter. I have versed them before. It's looking like a shadow deck to me. Turn 1 Thoughtseize. We aren't just dead. Oh, it's a Swift Spear? Okay, that's fine. That is more than okay with me. Oh, Daybreak Coronet's a nice one. Alright, let's get our Bogle out there and pass the turn. With these Prowess Shadow decks, they usually want to play the turn 1 creature over the turn 1 Thoughtseize. Just because a lot of their damage comes off of the Swift Spear or the Soulscale Mage. And you get turn 1 Thoughtseize a lot less against Prowess Shadow. Looks like this is a 3-color Prowess Shadow. And they cast the first one off of the Blood Crypt, so they can't Thoughtseize us anymore. That's okay by me. Giver of Runes? Oh, go away, man. Now it's making more sense. Jeez. It's awfully scary. Alright, we get Staggering Insight as well. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious what we have to do here. We just have to Ethereal Armor, attack, and then path 1 of the Swift Spears before Giver of Runes gives it protection. Or even path the Giver of Runes, because... I think pathing Swift Spear is fine, but we might just get chump blocked out here as well, so it might not be fine. It's just, we can't afford to take all this damage that we're going to be taking, right? Another Swift Spear, alright, well... 3 cards in hand. Can they get lethal damage down? Doesn't look like it. Okay. They got double discard? Surely they'd do that pre-combat. Okay, they've got Scourge. Right. Right. So... by Daybreak, I have a 5/5. If I Curious Obsession, I have a 7/7. If they chump block with the Scourge, we lose our creature. We can do first strike damage and gain the life, but the issue is they'll just Giver of Runes it to give protection. We won't gain any life. And then they'll just kill us for 8 power. Oh, this is real awkward. This card's like very, very powerful. I might just need a Core Spirit Dancer, and then if I Curious Obsession, it will fall off, so I need to Suicide the Slippery Bogle anyway. Oh man, I wish his Curious Obsession was something with flying. Well, maybe my opponent misplays, but the fact that they haven't misplayed yet means that they probably won't, right? Oh, okay, I miscounted my damage. I actually have 8 damage, but Giver of Runes, they're just going to do the chump block anyway and then win off of that. Alright. Let's make sure they select the right color. They can only get it wrong. They have 3 chances to get it wrong, not 4. So Daybreak Curious, their crabs, they give their creature protection from green. I can't deal damage to their creature, and then their creature just deals like so the first strike damage does nothing. Their creature still lives, and then I don't gain any life, and my creature gets killed on normal phase combat damage. So Echoing Truth might actually be okay here. Damping Sphere, pretty reasonable as well, because they are a Prowess deck. Yeah, Curious doesn't give flying. That's the Arcane Flight crabs. We are running 5 flying enchantments in the deck. We just didn't get to see one, unfortunately. So against these Prowess decks, like Core Spirit Dance is very rarely resolving. Leyline of Sanctity is very good. Potentially better than a card like Damping Sphere. I think I like Echoing Truth still. I think I want to cut on 1 Force of Negation, because this is essentially like 4 ley lines between the 3 ley lines and the 1 Force. That's essentially 4. I like my Stubborn Denial because I can cast it for something like Team of Battle Rage much easier than what I can cast Force of Negation for a Team of Battle Rage. Echoing Truth works well there as well. Flying's really good against this deck. I might just -1 Curious Obsession. I think I prefer the lifelink from Staggering Insight. Alright, let's go with that. Yeah, Dumping Insight's reasonable because it costs 2 mana, not 1. But at the same time, it does offer us like a little bit more, right? We're going to keep this pretty medium though. The fact that, yeah, it gains us life. It makes it, like the Staggering Insight gains us life. It makes it slightly better than Curious Obsession, like leaving that in for the fact our opponent's dealing damage, but specifically that Scourge of the Skyclaves. Like, we need to see lifelink, or else that creature's just going to become really big and really obnoxious. So it's turn 1 Swift Spear for my opponent, and they're attacking me. Sure. I do like drawing mana, which doesn't hurt me. Let's Curious Obsession here. I won't play any land just yet, in case I want to play a different land. We'll attack, we'll get a card draw. This is what this deck's about, is getting this card draw happening. Ethereal Armor is a very nice aura to draw. I think it's probably more important to resolve the Ethereal here than the Path to Exile on my opponent's turn. I think turn 3 is probably the critical turn for Path to Exile. Like, obviously it's not bad doing it in their turn 2 and fogging the damage, but definitely turn 3 is where they do the serious damage, right? I say that, and then they'll like Manamorphose into a Swift Spear and then Lava Dart or Crash Through or something. Oh, black-white. So this has got 4 colors? No, we saw the white before. That's fine. Just 3 colors. Dark Confidant? Wow, that's playing with fire. I guess I don't have Trample, but that is definitely playing with fire. Wow. Mardu going hard. I just thought this was Mardu Prowess. I didn't expect the Dark Confidant. Holy moly. Alright, so our library doesn't want to help us out very much. Let's attack our opponent and see what decision they make. Jump block with Swift Spear. It's interesting. Second main, play a Bogle. Play a tapped Hallowed Fountain. And I might path this opponent's Dark Confidant potentially. It's not the best target for Path to Exile, honestly. I might just leave it in hand. It's probably better left in hand. So, Cracking Bloodstained Mire. What are you doing with this mana? Death Shadow? Well, that's fine. Save path for the turn they try to kill. Yeah. Well, it's very risky doing it now when they've got, like, potentially Apostle's Blessing up with their mana, right? So I definitely agree with you there. Let's cycle this Wardlog Grove, see if we find some action. Alright, no action this turn. Let's attack, and again, if they do something with the Death Shadow, we can look to path it. Are they just jump blocking with it? Surely they've got a mutagenic growth or something. Lightning Bolt themselves? Sure. Alright, well, we're forced into pathing it now. Alright, we do get the Death Shadow. Something. Unfortunately, again, we don't have any flying here. Our opponent's just cutting off our card draw auras. It's very painful. Big yikes, probably shouldn't have put 40 lands in my Bogles deck. Yeah, I wish I had 40 lands in my deck, because then I could correct it. At the moment, like, I'm running 19 lands. I think I've gotten one draw off this Curious Obsession. Opponent putting Lurus into hand, so they'll be able to return Monastery Swift Spear next turn. Opponent's also down to 5 life. They are very low. It's time to start swinging with his Bogle as well. What are they doing second main? Thoughtseize? Oh wow, they've put themselves even lower. Now they can just die from their own Dark Confidant. Alright, better lucky than good, right? Let's go. Okay, looks like we get a game 3. So, obviously, I'm going to like the extra Force of Negation a little bit more now that I'm on the draw, because protecting ourselves from Thoughtseize becomes that bit more important. I might just minus another Curious Obsession and just run that. That should be fine. I think I still want my Stubborn Denials. Card's really powerful. Alright, we got to throw this one. Look for a better 6. This is hardly better. Alright, down to 5. This is a cape. We can ditch 1 Leyline, 1 Ethereal Armor. And then if we draw mana in the top 2 cards of our library, we have a pretty decent game here. So this isn't too bad. You want me to drop the Staggering Insights, Crab? I mean, they gave me life though. They're very good. And if I'm in a situation where I can't attack with a creature, they also don't fall off. But yeah, I mean, Invisible Stalker I can attack with every turn regardless. But I think Staggering Insight still just hedges it for me. Alright, so turn 1 was just a Mishra's Bubble, and then they brought in a fetch land tapped. Sorry, a shock land tapped with their fetch. Alright. So Invisible Stalker's down. Next turn we have a giant attack with double ethereal armor. Maybe we'll leave up a giant block. Alright, opponent getting in for 2. So Invisible Stalker will be a 7/7. Pretty important to note. Wow, Drown in Sorrow? Man, we just got blown out. Hot damn. That's a good one. Alright, get wrecked. If we draw a Slippery Bogle, we're still in a pretty decent spot though. Man. Sad times. Alright, looks like a second main Scourge. Be surprised if it wasn't. Alright, there's the Scourge. Alright, old turn 4 Invisible Stalker. Can it get us there? Obviously, if we draw mana next turn, we can Ethereal Armor plus Daybreak. And then they can't block. We just pretty much win from that point. If we don't, this Scourge is probably too big to deal with, and we just lose. Maybe Path to Exile will get us there as well. Putting Lurrus into hand. Another Scourge. Yikes. And a Death Shadow. Whew. Well, we draw Path, and if our opponent just had one Scourge, would be okay. But the fact that they have 2... there's no way that I can, like, do this, because we just get 7 power here. And then we lose, right? So that Drown in the Lock was, like, really good for my opponent. And obviously won them the game just then. Damn. Oh, well. Unlucky. They've got a lot of really big creatures in that deck. So, White Record. Looks like I didn't update it when I pulled it up. Alright, it's updated now. Currently 1-0. Real close game though. Real close game there. Invisible Stalker was almost good enough because they wouldn't have been able to block it with its unblockable. And we would have... Ethereal Armor was worth 3 damage. 6. So we would have attacked for 7, gained 7, and shrunk them both down to 3/3s. Of course, the Death Shadow would grow to a 10/10, which is an issue. But then we can just chump block one of their other creatures, and we're still in an okay spot. Alright, so match 2, we won the die roll up against Hollow Home. This is another Lurrus deck, and I'm going to keep my hand. Looking pretty solid. So we can get some just Windswept Teeth into Hallowed Fountain, and then Windswept Teeth into Plains, and we'll only deal 2 damage to ourselves here. Opponent has mulligan to 6, and looks like they're going to keep now. So skip on through. We are going to be able to resolve at least one creature. But yeah, we're gonna have to see what that creature will be. Llanowar Wastes? Is this elves? Is it budget? Ozoleth. Okay, it's Harden Scales. I'm kind of tempted to go for Core Spirit Dancer here, to be honest, if we're versing a Harden Scales deck. I think the likelihood of our Core Spirit Dancer dying main deck is pretty low. Like, I think they bring the removal in post-board. Although, never mind. We've got double Ethereal Armor. There's literally no point risking it, right? Double Ethereal Armor is a really good clock. Just on its own. Turn 2, Walking Ballista on 1, maybe. Oh, sorry. No, I'm not. I'm not 128 with this deck. What's going on there? That's not right. I think I'm like 13-8 with the deck. That gives me... I think I accidentally fat-fingered when I updated the score. It's something like 13-8. I'll have to look back and find out to be absolutely certain. Alright, let's go Curious Obsession here because we might want to draw the extra land. It's probably worth hitting the land to get that extra 1 point of damage in. Because then that gives us a more explosive turn next turn. Oh, no, I haven't quite broken Modern. This list I'm running is only running 2 Force of Negations, so it'll be stronger when I save up enough tickets to have the full playset. But at the moment, it's a little bit subpar at the moment. Broken Modern, yeah, not quite. There's plenty of other decks breaking Modern at the moment. Fortunately, we're not one of them. Man, a big thing that this deck does is put up chump blockers, and Invisible Stalker is unblockable. They're not going to be able to block it. If they're just playing Metallic Mimic and having another setup term, like, we're in a pretty good spot. Alright, big decisions from my opponent onto how to sequence their hand. Alright, they have gone for the Metallic Mimic. Well, Daybreak should do a very good job of winning the game. I do actually get more damage out if I just go Ethereal Hyena Umbra, but if I draw a mana here, I can go Ethereal Armor plus Daybreak, as long as it's not one of my 2 lands that only tap for blue. Alright, Windswept Teeth. This is gotta be game. Double Ethereal Armor and Daybreak on an unblockable creature. It's surely good enough. So this will be an attack for 13. Put our opponent to 3, and we go up to 27. Yeah, this has got to be good here. Alright, cool. Opponent concedes. So, we're up against Harden Scales. So, Disenchant's going to be good. Echoing Truth's going to be good. Harshbringer doesn't seem good enough. Disdainful Strike, not good enough. Lavinia, not good enough. What are we minusing? We really want our evasiveness here. Our counter magic is maybe what we're going to look towards trimming on. We might just trim the 2 Stubborn Denial. We'll still want Force to counter like a Harden Scales or something, or an Ozolith. Maybe I'll drop 1 Core Spirit Dancer, 1 Stubborn Denial. Alright, let's go with that. You cut the Force, yeah, but we want to tap out on our turn, Metnik. So if we want to tap out on our turn, we want to counter the important spells during their turn, which are going to be Harden Scales or the Ozolith. And those cards are really powerful. So no Force here, obviously. This hand might take a bit to get going, to be honest. We have a 3/3 flying creature that draws us a card each turn, yeah. I think you're right. I think it is a keep, but like this is a lot of creatures to have in your hand. I guess we're pretty Thoughtseize proof if our opponent's got the Thoughtseize. Starting with green mana into Ozolith, so yeah. Obviously, if we had a Force in hand there, we could just counter that, and then their power levels reduce significantly. But that's not what's happened. That's fine. We still have lots of legs this game. Maybe not, but they do like sack their Hangerback Walker and make flying tokens, and with the Ozolith they can, and And with like Lurus, they can do it pretty reliably where they just get flying tokens every turn. But yeah, I don't know. Ozolith just like makes them win more, right? Which is why Hushbring would be good. Yeah, alright, you got me there. You got me there. I didn't think about that that one, did I? Alright, let's go for Curious Obsession here. We need to see the extra card. Ethereal Armors are nice. We do have 2 of them again. We do have Flying again as well. Alright, let's hope they don't have Nature's Claim. Alright, so they're just chump blocking. Alright, so I guess if we just put the Flying down, I think we want to leave Flying Secret there. Seems like a weird jump block to me, but I guess our opponent's got their reason. Now they've got a Walking Ballista. It's not the scariest thing ever. Hexproof decks don't care about that card as much as other creature decks. Alright, so let's just go for Flying. We really need to see mana, so we're going to be leaning on this Curious Obsession pretty hard here. Yeah. Krabs agrees with the Flying decision. The only like downside to playing Flying right now is the fact it gives my opponent the information that we have Flying, so they might play their next turn differently, looking to prioritize getting out the Hangerback Walker so they can block it, which will obviously be pretty damaging to us. Alright, yeah, no land, Midnatic. It's not happening just yet. Hopefully we see one during our next turn, because we still have a really good clock. If we just resolve double Ethereal Armor and attack, we have a really good clock. We kill him in 2 turns, if that's the case. Alright, there's the land. Thank you. Thank you for your wishes, Magnetic. You did help us. Magnetic. Okay, sorry, mate. Magnetic. I was just shortening it, yeah, but that's fine. I'll pronounce it right from now on. Alright, so we're going to attack for 11 here. We put our opponent down to 6. And if they don't have a Flying Chump Blocker, we're going to be in a really good spot for next turn, just to win it. If they do, we have Invisible Stalkers to go in on, and we can potentially slow kill our opponent. Oh, Metnik? Metnik. Okay, thank you. I'll try and remember that if you are a regular viewer of mine as well. Exactly spot on, thank you. Yeah, no problem, mate. No problem. Thank you for the follow, Metnik. Good to have you on board. Okay. So we do have land here. There's really no advantage to us playing anything pre-combat. We might as well just attack here. Either we get the win, or we play Invisible Stalker and start putting enchantments on Invisible Stalker. So obviously they can destroy the Flying. Yeah, there's the Assassin's Trophy. So we did sort of call that one. So Chump Block is live now for my opponent as well. They're blocking with Walking Ballista? Okay. Guess they want to transfer their tokens onto something else. In my second main, I'm going to play double Invisible Stalker. So reason for doing this is it allows us to get an extra point of damage across the next turn. And we might want to use our Core Spirit Dancer to draw cards off these auras as well. Unfortunately, we do have to shock with this one because I've only got 1 basic planes in this list. Yeah, I could do double Core Spirit Dancer, but it's susceptible to removal. This is guaranteed damage here. And I can Spirit Dancer next turn anyway. You'd rather play Core plus Umbra? Yeah, maybe that's better, but like at the same time, we're still not getting around the fact that our opponent's in a position to chump block. I want to be attacking with my unblockable creature so that they can't chump block. I want to end this game because if it goes long, they will beat us. If they kept removal in their duck, you just saw it. They kept in an Assassin's Trophy. I think you're talking about Fatal Push. The way he wins is Ravager plus Ballista. Yeah, well that would be very good for him as well, right? They are taking a long time on their turn though, so it doesn't mean that they just have something good to slam. They have to think about it, which is usually a good sign for you. If your opponent's played timely the entire match, and then they're like slowing it down, having to think, it's usually a good sign. Alright, so they do go for the Walking Ballista. They have 1 mana up with the Blooming Marsh at the moment. Oh, we draw flying anyway, so that's like just really good. Okay. Played any high level Magic? I played a few Grump GPs and things. I mostly just play a lot online. I've got a YouTube channel as well, which is also titled Foul Play. If you look up Foul Play MTG, you should be able to find it. I did link it to my Twitch, so I'm not sure how easy that is for you to find as well. But yeah, I've only actually ever played in 2 GPs. I've been playing Magic since I was 7. Been playing at like a decent level though, probably for the past 10 years. Or maybe more like 8 years, actually. But yeah, I'm in Australia and we don't have many GPs. We might have 2 to 3 GPs here a year. And you have to travel interstate because the state I'm in, South Australia, isn't big enough to host them normally. I did get close to... I got like 1 win off of making an RPTQ. So like I got pretty close on a few PP2Qs. My closest was like 1 win away. Yeah, Australia is screwed. Isn't big enough? Yeah, no, not big enough. But the other issue as to why I haven't been able to make many big tournaments is because I've been doing soccer for like the last 23 years of my life, and that takes up a lot of my weekend. I'm actually calling it quits with my soccer now and retiring at 31. So I can focus on this a bit more because soccer for me is a hobby that doesn't make me money, and this is a hobby that has the potential to make me money. So just priorities, and you know, being out in the cold training 3-4 times a week is just not great. You get over it after several years in a row. Alright, so taking a little while to find our match 3 opponent here. Your friend is also the same semi-pro soccer player that plays this exact deck and paper. Well, isn't that ironic? We must be a type then, mustn't we? Right, you live in the UK and your entire size is your entire country is a quarter of the size of South Australia. Yeah, you're right, Crabs. And for some reason, we still have backwards people that are against like immigration and refuge and things like that, and don't think the country's big enough. It's like, let them in, just put funding into, you know, making work for them, and then they won't be on the dole, and you won't have to worry about anything like that. But yeah, what about you, Ametnik? Have you played at a high level before? Also you, Crabs, have you guys played any big tournaments? What decks do you play as well? Considering this stage is taking a while to find, geez, I might just restart it. Alright, well, we found one straight away, so I guess it was bugged a little bit there. You play lots of GPs? Have you done very well in your GPs? Ametnik? And Crabs, you've played a lot of GPs as well. Big events. But you suck, no worries. Oh yeah, well, Bogles is the perfect deck for you. You don't have to be good according to your opponents. You played Mills for 3 years, and now it's all paying off. Yeah, well, Mills a pretty real deck at the moment. I used to think Leyline was good enough to deal with it, but it's fallen off so much recently. So we've had to mull to 6. This hand is going to be a keep. As to what I want to bottom, I'm not entirely sure. I might just bottom the Stubborn Denial. That might be wrong. I'll bottom Course Spirit Dance. No, I'll bottom Invisible Stalker. This is like so awkward. I don't like any combination of these cards really. So Ametnik, we have a group that travels around EU to GPs. Okay, cool. That's really good. Yeah, I have like one Amulet deck. Okay, Stubborn Denial's good, and Amulet's annoying. Crab says, yeah, not only did we ruin Crab and cataphonically ignore hexproof effects, we also get swarmed because it's a fucking pie color apparently. Yeah. Well, actually, I've lost to a lot of mill decks recently, which is why I've started sideboarding Gaia's Cradle in my green-white version. Opponent on Azusa. That's going to be a scary one. Field of the Dead. So, unblockable, obviously, a very big issue as well. We do it more for travels and less for the GP. I mean, yeah, traveling around with friends is always a good time as well, right? I just realized I didn't play a turn 1 Bogle. That seemed a little bit silly. Alright, so I think we just go for Core Spirit Dancer and hope it's okay. Don't think we're winning this game if we don't go for Spirit Dancer here. I should have played the Bogle a turn earlier. They Titan next turn, yeah, but if they Titan next turn, can they kill my creature? I don't think so. They'd need to have Titan plus Dryad of Elysian Grove, in which case I'm probably dead anyway. Yeah. Yeah, so I think we just, after not playing Bogle turn 1, I think we just have to hope that they don't have the Dryad of Elysian Grove and that they're just going in on a Titan, because we can beat a Titan, but Dryad's just going to be a bit too much for us. It also really sucks because if this Stubborn Denial was a Force of Negation like it's supposed to be, we would have been able to counter Amulet, and then they wouldn't be so explosive. So, what have they got? Is it Dryad plus Prime Time, or is it just Prime Time? Looks like they're playing a Dryad. Alright, just a Prime Time? Sure. I guess they could get Talaria West Transmute for a Summoner's Pact and then get Dryad of Elysian Grove. It doesn't look like it. Are they going for haste? Yeah. Doesn't look good at all. Yeah, I think you guys are right there. Summoner's Pact? Oh, yikes. Alright, cool. Opponent's got it all. Well, we definitely misplayed, but I don't think it would have made a huge difference with the explosiveness of their turn. So, against Amulet Titan, Disenchant, Damping Sphere, Echoing Truth, really good. Disdainful Stroke is probably bad because they'd run Cavern Souls, right? Lavinia might not be too bad. Stops them from casting Amulet. Removes the value that their Castle Garenbrink brings. Yeah. Typically against this deck, we really want all our Path to Exiles for their Dryad of the Elysian Grove. We might want some counter magic for their packs. I think Core Spirit Dance is a pretty certain cut here. Flying's really good against Titan, by the way, because it stops their Field of the Dead from just tempoing you out. I think Hushbringer is a little bit of an overboard. Disenchant's probably an overboard as well. Echoing Truth, Damping Sphere seem fine still. Guess I just trim the stubborn denial because they don't counter Amulet, and my opponent's going to be doing his packs during his turn anyway. Alright, let's go with that. Alright, what's just been said? So Crab says, your problem there was that you didn't care. You didn't cast mill spells and then surgical their prime time. Yeah, well, I mean, that's a pretty big problem, Crabs. That mill has an excellent matchup against Amulet Titan. I've seen many Titan players get frustrated by mill decks, just absolutely decimated. Okay, so can't keep this one. We can keep this hand. This hand's looking very strong. Mulligan decision's like a little bit difficult here. I think it's just the Curious Obsession. Oh, wait a minute. I might want that. We'll throw the Staggering Insight. We kind of want the life gain, but we kind of want 1 mana more auras more. But watch it. Our opponent will just get Blast Zone or Engineered Explosives and just blast out anyway. It's definitely not like safe going for this line. No Totem Armor, no 2 mana auras. Pretty scary. Alright, turn 1 a Talaria West from my opponent. So we're going to use this instance to get out our Curious Obsession. Get the extra card draw. Echoing Truth to hand. I mean, if we ever got some mana, we might be able to cast that. Turn 2 Amulet from my opponent. Explosives on 1. Oh, gross. That's disgusting. Alright, that makes me feel a little bit better about things. Top deck Totem Armor. Whew. Alright, we draw a Seachrome Curse as well. Now, I'm not going to run any more auras into this Engineered Explosives. I want to be able to reload afterwards. It's kind of interesting. If our opponent plays a creature here... Okay, we're not in a bad spot. This is pretty okay. We've got access to 4 mana now. We get another Hyena Umbra. So we can cash out Daybreak in and gain some life. And guarantee a card draw here, because they're not going to block with Dryad of Elysian Grove. I think that's our best line, and then we can just reload with 1 mana auras afterwards and interact with them with Echoing Truth as well. I think normally you want to save Daybreak until like the last card you play against this deck, but I think in this position it's actually not too bad. I also just missed a land drop because I skipped through my turn. Need to be tighter there. That's bad. Still in a decent spot. If we can draw to one of these forces as well, we're just so much more likely to win. Opponent tapping for another Dryad of Elysian Grove. Well, this is going to be like real backbreaking for our opponent. We can bounce both their Dryads. And we just drew the Force of Negation. Sure. Let's attack. I'll bounce these Dryads now. Or else they might potentially chump block and I'll lose 1 point of damage. Because their line's going to be like block and then crack explosives no matter what, right? Alright, there's the explosives. We get in for 1. Now we can resolve a Hyena Umbra. Hold up Force of Negation with this Arcane Flight. So, pretty nice here. Pretty nice spot. Obviously, like any Summoner's Pact, any Engineered Explosives, and I'm just going to counter it. With our Ethereal Armors in hand, we can attack for 7, so we're 1 damage off killing them. Oh, I'm supposed to counter that. I just skipped through. I'm an absolute dingus. I'm not used to playing with counterspells, obviously. Actually, that's not too bad, because the Primeval Titan doesn't just kill us. Because we can just fly over and kill them. So I think this is fine, because they've completely tapped out now. They've got nothing else happening. They've already played explosives. Like, some of the decks play more than one copy, but a lot of the decks just play one copy of explosives. They probably... I mean, they don't have Amulet of Titan, so nothing's entering untapped. Oh, okay, Radiant Fountain and Field of Dead? Sure. That makes enough sense, yeah. So Bogles a nice draw, so we can pitch that to Force of Negation for next turn. So our opponent got a Force of Vigor here. They've slowed the game down. They've been playing real quick, and now they've just slowed it down, which is a bit odd. Maybe they're just looking at their phone or something. Alright, so yep, attack for 10, or attack for 11, get the win. Force will be pretty good. Alright, opponent concedes, wow. Alright, it's gotta be at least a little bit lucky for us, or at least a little bit fortunate for us. Damping Sphere seems worse on the draw. I think I like the Stubborn Denial more. Let's go with that. Another thing to consider is, like, some Titan decks can play, like, Reclamation Sage or Night of Autumn or a creature ETB effects that destroy your enchantments, but it is pretty rare. It's probably not worth Hushbringer into in the blind. Alright, we're going to keep this hand and hope it gets us there. Arcane Flight is like a little bit redundant because we've got Invisible Stalker, which has got unblockable anyway, so we don't really need the flying. Boreal Grazer, kind of gross. Castle, okay. An argument to playing this Hallowed Fountain untapped here. I don't think we want to be doing that, because if, like, our opponent plays a Dryad and then they play an extra land, they're at 4 mana anyway, then we path their Dryad, and it seems like we're just too far behind at that point. I kind of want to hold up path there, but I don't think we're reliably going to win the game if I do that. So we're gonna go with this for now. Opponent attacking for 2, sure, that's absolutely fine. Alright, we have drawn mana, so that's going to be really, really good for us. I'm going to shock this one in. I'm going to go for a Curious Obsession, and then I'm going to go for an Ethereal Armor. No, I'll go for Hyena Umbra, it's safer. Better against Engineered Explosives. And we can hold up Path for our opponent for during their turn. Alright, so we get a card draw from Invisible Stalker. And we see a Flooded Strand. Okay. Well, it's going to be good for next turn. So opponent missed land drop. Wow, okay. Opponent's just missing land drops. That's even better. shock this one in. I'll just go Ethereal Armor plus Daybreak and attack. And we're still holding up path. It's pretty good. We've got our opponent on a 2-turn clock now. So this will be an attack for 10. Alright, Force of Vigor, kind of disgusting. I think it was a little bit expected though, right? Just have to kill them the slow way now. What'd they pitch to the Force, by the way? A Summoner's Pact? Okay. I don't see any reason to fire off this path like prematurely. Alright. They're casting another Summoner's Pact. So they just exiled one, now they're casting one during their turn. Reclamation Sage? Oh, that's kind of disgusting. So they should know the interaction where if they destroy the Hyena Umbra, the Daybreak Coronet will fall off. It looks like they do know that. That's unfortunate. That's got us for a decent chunk of value there. Okay, they're playing that land. Seems like my opponent's like on mono green at the moment. Alright, we draw another Daybreak, so at least we get in for some decent damage this turn. Might stop on my opponent's turn and just path the Dryad of Elysian Grove. Actually, they do have to pay for a Summoner's Pact, so it might not even be necessary next turn. Can probably just hold it. So 4 mana is going to eat up all their mana. And then we're 2 damage away from killing our opponent. We draw another path, so I can't imagine a world where they win now. I am going to path the Dryad of Elysian Grove on draw step now. Make that land enter tapped. I don't really care about their other creatures. Let's see what they've got with the rest of their turn now. Alright, they concede. So, nice victory there against Titan. Amulet Harden. So, currently 2-1 in this league. See how we go in match 4. Last time I played this deck, I went 4-1 as well. So, I think it's actually surprisingly consistent. More consistent than a lot of people give it credit for. So, yeah. Here we go. What do people watching think? Have you got any suggestions for cards to include that aren't on the screen? Just as far as deck inclusions that I could be looking at. That's the current list at the moment. Currently got the Rest in Peace and Hushbringers in the sideboard, 1 Disenchant, 3 Leyline of Sanctity, 1 Damping Sphere, 2 Lavinia, an Echoing Truth, 2 Distortion Strike. A few different spells there, a few big spells. I might just restart this again. try to get into that match a bit quicker. What about, like, from what everyone's seen, what do you think of the number of flying auras I have being 5? Like, we saw a couple of games where it would have been beneficial to have flying on Bogle, and we just didn't have that down yet. So it slowed down our clock by a lot by them chump blocking. Obviously, if you include flying auras or like a spirit mantle, it's mostly going to be relevant for the slippery Bogle and not the invisible stalker, which has unblockable. Alright, so looks like we've found a match 4 now. Just waiting for our opponent to click that join button. Alright, and we're in. We lost the die roll. We're up against NJGB1. And, well, we got no creatures in this hand, so we're definitely throwing it. No companions from my opponent. Alright, we'll keep this. This is pretty medium, but we'll keep it. We'll bottom a Flooded Strand and go with that. Polluted Delta. Yuck. We draw another Invisible Stalker. Mono hexproof creatures. Well, we might be able to get ourselves in a decent spot if we get this Staggering Insight down, draw some cards with it. Is it a mill deck we're versing? Polluted Delta. Okay, Triome. Saltai Triome. Into Mana and Pass. So this is definitely feeling a lot like an Uro deck. I don't think I want a Staggering Insight this turn. I think I want to get Staggering Insight on an Invisible Stalker. So I'm just going to attack for 1 here. And then look to cast Invisible Stalker. Having very few auras in hand is really not where you want to be against Uro decks. They're pretty scary. See if they counter this or just play a Growth Spiral. Alright, well there's the Remand. So they've gone for the Tempo counterspell. Interesting. Go on, cast that Uro. You know you want to. Actually, I don't want to cast yet. I want to cast next turn after I've resolved what I need to. Alright, so let's go for this Curious Obsession now. I think this is enough card draw that I kind of want to go for it. And if they let that one resolve, they're probably going to let Staggering Insight resolve as well. Alright, things are going not too bad here. Attack, we get our triggers. Drawing a Daybreak Coroner is very nice. Hyena Umbra very nice as well. So we had very few auras in hand, but we've drawn out of it with just 1 attack from our Bogle. This is very, very nice to see. Sunken Hollow, getting play in Modern. You've seen it here, guys. Sunken Hollow. Opponent choosing to use the Brainstorm ability of their Jace. I think we want to ignore Jace and just go for them here. Although we can deal with it once for all, and we can play an Invisible Stalker. Or we can hold up Stubborn Denial. It's a weird spot. Alright, let's just be a little bit patient and attack Jace. And then we'll play out our Invisible Stalker here. Actually, probably the better line is to use the Waterlog Grove to do that. So we're representing Path to Exile for if our opponent Uros. We can path it in response to the ETB. Sure. Just going to get a basic island here. Hold up my Stubborn Denial. I could take a damage there to potentially float a mana, but it's really not worth it. Seachrome Coast. Alright. Alright. So... feel like I still want to slow roll this Daybreak Coronet here. Doesn't feel like a good spot to put it down. Now we have a creature that has 4 power. The Stubborn Denial is significantly more powerful. Otherwise, they just like mana leak and pay 1 for our Stubborn Denial, and then we're just not very happy about any of that. It's pretty good. So opponent down to 9. Let's go ahead and resolve a Hyena Umbra on Invisible Stalker. Then we'll just pass the turn. Archmage's Charm from my opponent. We'll let that resolve. That's not an important spell to try and counter. What are they going for? They need to do something. Like, this is definitely an Uro deck, and they're just not doing anything. It's very bizarre to see. Usually they've cast Uro by now, and then they're threatening to return it, and then they, like, Cryptic Lock you. Cling to Dust? Sure. Opponent's drawn a card with Cling to Dust, exiling my 1 of Waterlog Grove. Seems odd. Looks like Saltai Reclamation. What's Saltai Reclamation do, Ametnik? Force is a really good draw here. So now we can just Ethereal Armor on the Invisible Stalker. Obviously, we've got 2 counterspells here. We can only cast 1 this time, so I guess it's just going to be a Stubborn Denial if we need to. Here, I suppose we go for Daybreak Coronet as well, because if they look to Snapcast and Chump Block the Bogle, it's going to be lethal, resolving this Daybreak. So opponent is fetching the Polluted Delta. They're going to be looking to cast some sort of counterspell here by the looks of things. It might even just be Snapcaster Mage into Archmage's Charm. Or into Remand. Alright, so if it's Snapcaster Mage into Archmage's Charm, we can get them with the Stubborn Denial. Mana Leak. Sure. We'll make them counter it, because if they counter this, they can't cast Snapcaster Mage. Oh, as in like the Wilderness Reclamation? Yeah. Usually those decks only play like 1 or 2 copies of Wilderness Reclamation anyway. And yeah, they do play Nexus of Fate, which is pretty obnoxious. Go super hard on the Planeswalkers as well. Alright, so opponent concedes there. I think they were on the Snapcaster Mage Chump Block line there, or else they would have conceded earlier. So obviously, Rest in Peace is very good here. Hushbringer is like sort of medium, because it will stop them from like gaining life and drawing card when Uro enters, but then it will be there permanently, which is pretty bad. Echoing Truth seems pretty reasonable against Uro as well. Lavinia... bad versus Uro. What was bad versus Uro? Lavinia is... oh, you're talking about the Hushbringer being bad against Uro? Disdain? Not sure. Lavinia is sort of medium, because if our opponent's running Force of Negation, it will stop Force of Negation. But other than that, it doesn't really do much, and I think it is just going to be too narrow. think I like having some number of path in the deck, but not all of them. And then we still got to trim a couple of cards. Stubborn Denial's good because it lets us cast those big auras on our turn. I might just minus the core Spirit Dancers. If we fall behind, it's going to suck, but let's just hope we don't fall behind. Alright, so man, this hand's pretty yikes. It's actually, it has a couple of very good elements. Like, obviously, we have Turn 1 Creature. We have Stubborn Denial, which isn't bad. We have Curious Obsession, which is good if we get it down early. And the Rest in Peace is, like, really good for their Uro. So, I think it's a keep. To get this Slippery Bogle happening. Your opponents can cast Mystical Dispute against you when you're on this like blue version of Bogles. So that's something to be aware of. Alright. We draw another Rest in Peace. Alright, well, we really want this Curious Obsession to resolve. Obviously, Remand is bad. Mana Leak is bad. So they do Remand. Guess we get our attack. We miss our land drop. So, turn 3 opponent, they make their land drop, and yeah, care for Snapcaster Mage. That's why I played the Stubborn Denial. Now my opponent's got Engineered Explosives, which really sucks. And we have missed another land drop, which really sucks, but I don't know, maybe this resolves. Remand? Oh man, they would get so punished if I drew mana that turn by doing that line. Holy moly, that is not a smart play. I'm gonna bottom a Graveyard in the Invisible Stalker there. It's like really sucks that we just haven't hit our land, because now we're probably like never gonna win this. Alright, there it is, right on time. Let's go for the Hyena Umbra again. Hit first. Well, hit first is bad if they have Snapcaster Mage. And I don't want like them to just chump block with Snapcaster Mage and then still have Engineered Explosives on the board. I want explosives off the board. So that's just resolved. That's very odd. Because then I might resolve Stalker. But then they just, if they play Snapcaster Mage, they just remand it. Like Snapcaster, chump block. Like Snapcaster target, remand, chump block. And then when I cast Stalker, they just remand it. Yeah. And like, if not, they still just have Engineered Explosives and can crack that at any time. I think it's like slightly better. So Cling to Dust, they exiled my Hyena Umbra, sure. So opponent at 5 mana. Opponent is bad at magic rules, yeah. Well, if they pop it beforehand, then, you know, Totem Armor doesn't do its thing, right? We all understand that. Though, to be honest, like, I'm kind of glad my opponent's misplaying, because with how far behind we are, we, like, need them to. Let's go for Griffspoon. I guess we just Griffspoon into Curious Obsession. I'm not in love with this. I kind of want to play the Rest in Peace just to, like, bait them, and then when I have 3 mana. Alright, so they just counter that one. Here comes the Curious Obsession. They hardcast Force of Negation. I guess that's reasonable here with how little pressure we've applied. So, obviously, if they have Snapcaster Mage, they can still chump block and just blow us out with their Ambush Viper. Another Force of Negation? Okay. Exiling Cryptic Command? I mean, them losing Cryptic Command is good for us, but we are now out of auras. Rest in Peace is very good against their deck, though. So once they start trying to cast Uro, which is pretty much a shoo-in that it's in their deck, then we're just going to be able to get rid of it and hopefully resolve 2 spells on that turn. Narset? Sure. So they get to look for a non-creature, non-land card. Archmage's Charm into hand. Playing Field of Dead. Let's attack our opponent for 1. Let's attack the Narset. We want to reduce as many activations as it can get, right? Alright, now we can look to resolve our Rest in Peace. It's like, this game's like gone so bad just because we didn't get like 2 mana to have early tempo. It's like really stalled out, which is not a good place to be. But opponent's down to 3 cards in hand, which is decent. They have sacked the Narset. We have also resolved Rest in Peace, which is very good. Archmage's Charm during their own turn? Sure. Oh, have they got enough land, finally, that Field of Dead is active? That's pretty lame. That is pretty lame. Alright. Let's second main cast a Stalker and then just pass. Oh, opponent is looking to counter here. If it's a Cryptic Command, we can Stubborn Denial. If it's the Archmage's Charm, I think he Archmage's Charm to, like, draw cards, though, so I don't think it's Archmage's Charm. I think he's going to be going for Cryptic here. I don't think this is a good use of Stubborn Denial, because I can just, like... I do need the Invisible Stalker to resolve, though. Yeah, it's fine. It's just, like, I'm never casting... Like, I'm not anytime soon casting Stubborn Denial with Ferocity enabled, so I might as well just get the guaranteed counter on the Cryptic and stop them from drawing the card, stop them from countering my creature, all of that. Alright, we draw a Field of Curious Obsession, which is pretty good. Does resolve, so I'm going to just assume Daybreak Coronet's going to resolve as well, if the Curious Obsession did. Alright, that's good value. Abrupt Decay and 2-for-1 me before I draw a card off it. That's possibly going to be game. That's what these Saltai, like, versions of Uro do, though. This Field of Dead is, like, going hard. Oh, they play a fetch land? That might be lethal. I can chub block 2 zombies with each of my Bogles, and then if I draw Aura Daybreak, I can potentially win. But it's a lot of zombies. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is, of all the draws, that is a good darn draw. Alright, that's going to let us go for a little bit longer. Damn, they've got the Cryptic. They've got the Hardcast Force of Negation. Wow, they didn't have a single Uro in hand, and this, like, Rest in Peace has done nothing but stop me from getting Mystic locked. And now we die for exactly 6. Wow. Rough game. Alright, game 3. Of all your snoozers, like, that's not what you want with Bogles. You want quick games. That Echoing Truth would have been very, very good if it resolved, though. Well, these paths seem significantly worse at the moment. I might just take... Might leave 2 in, bring back in a Core Spirit Dancer, and we can go with that. That'll be fine. At least Core Spirit Dancer gives me a really good draw engine for, like, games where I'm very Aura Light, like that last one. Alright, this hand looks very good. I'm going to keep it. Both these lands are probably getting Temple Gardens, because I'm going to need double blue and double white here. Opponent's mulligan to 5. Alright, I think as long as this Invisible Stalker doesn't get hit by Mystical Dispute, we're, like, in a very good spot. With how many auras are in my hand, like, I do need to get the double blue. It's going to be very important. Turn 1, Sunken Hollow Intapped. I like to see that. That is very nice. Alright, we draw Seachrome Coast, so I don't need to fetch shock that Flooded Strand anymore. That can just get a Plains now. Let's crack this one for a white, and we'll go Ethereal Armor. We'll go Arcane Flight, and then we can attack for 4. If our opponent Remands or Mana Leaks here, we can just Stubborn Denial it. We don't really want our opponent drawing the card off this. This is worthwhile. It's not like a big spell, but it's definitely worth for our tempo, us resolving this and attacking for 4. And then next turn, we can beat a Mana Leak with play Mana and cast Arcane Flight, and we beat Mana Leak, so that's pretty nice. They can't Archmages Charm us next turn either. Okay. This is decent. Let's see if we can draw another Aura, though. It's going to be even better if we can have an even quicker clock. Opponent Shocking and Breeding Pool. Looks like an Uro. Alright, so after not seeing it at all in match 2, when I had double Rest in Peace, here's Uro now, causing mayhem. Yeah, I'm not complaining. That's a really good draw. That is a really, really good draw. Just going on the creature that can't get bounced by a Jace or a Cryptic Command, right? Alright, and we draw Daybreak Coronet. So if opponent wants to resolve this Uro, we're going to resolve a Daybreak. It's really good for us. And Daybreak will be lethal as well. I guess I shouldn't just hard skip the turn. I should just slow skip it. Represent that I might have a path or a Stubborn Denial here. Interesting. They're just passing to me, so I sort of smell a cryptic command at the moment. Are they just going to upkeep cryptic command to play around me drawing counter magic? Looks like that's what they're doing. I don't like entirely agree with this. Like upkeep cryptic. Because then I just get to resolve a free daybreak. Okay. So we'll do staggering insight first. It's far less valuable. Our opponent will be very likely to just counter this. If they have the cryptic command, they'll probably counter tap. Really? Okay. Let's go for Ethereal Armor now. This Daybreak can stay in hand. It's not really that important. I'm more interested in drawing a Stubborn Denial and being able to cast it. Alright, we draw Invisible Stalker, so no Stubborn Denial there. We do have Lethal, though. Did my opponent let me draw the card and now they're thinking about whether or not to counter it? Interesting. Alright, someone is definitely in the think tank right now. Definitely in the think tank. They're pretty far away from activating their arrow, like with its escape cost from the grave. I think it's 6 cards they have to escape with, right? Or 5 cards, sorry. That's Croc said it's 6. But like even then, they've got a fetch land to put it up to 3 escapable cards, and then like they just run out after that. So I think they're just going to tap draw. Or are they just slow rolling? Is bounce Ethereal Armor? I mean, they haven't tapped us down. What have they got? Abrupt Decay? Okay, sure. So we put them to 2, and if they fetch the Misty Rainforest, which they kind of have to, they go to 1. Uncounterable Disruption. Whew, look at that. Alright. So just skip to our end step now. I don't think I'm casting the Curious Obsession there anyway. I think I want to... Actually, maybe I cast it in case I draw Force of Negation. Yeah. I probably should have cast Curious Obsession then. Opponent on 1 life though. Like, we're in a very good spot. They get basic, and then they do like a Field of Ruin on us. Then maybe they have just enough cards in their graveyard to escape Uro, but then they can't do anything. They need to get a Cryptic lock going here. Very interesting. Alright, so they just get a Triome land. So this one's the Saltai Triome land. And looks like they're going to try for something in their turn. Maybe they draw the Cryptic command. Maybe they're just waiting until the very last minute to play their Cryptic. But I think tapping down my team last turn and then like Mystic Sanctuary, get Cryptic back would have been the line for them. So I'm guessing they don't have Cryptic. I don't know. This is weird. Cling to Dust. Alright. And they use the draw effect from Cling to Dust, not the life gain. So Crabs say, hey opponent, hey Ome Way Mu Shindaru. Is that something like hurry the hell up, or I'm not sure what that means, or is that a streamer? Is there a reference to someone there? Nanny? Yeah, I'm not sure. It means you're already dead. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. That I understand. Even that one's not going over my head. Alright, well, they're wasting both our clock at the moment. This is not the best. Well, there is the concession, so... Alright. 3-1. On to match 5. Definitely got some power here. So, Mr. Krabs sharing a YouTube link. Alright, I'll check that one out after the video, man. I'm assuming it's in regards to the saying you were saying just before. Alright, we'll watch it. It's quite short and to the point. Alright, well. There we go. Oh yeah, it's extremely short. Your fists are about as strong as a mosquito. You're already dead. What? Boom. Is that is that One Punch Man? Is that what that is? With the Japanese, with the quote in Japanese, the you're already dead quote in Japanese. Looks like it. Alright, we've found our opponent for match 5. Let's get this 4-1, shall we? Alright. We won the die roll. That's an excellent start. Up against Locarion. So here we go. What have we got here? This is a wicked hand. Alright, let's snap keep this one, shall we? Here I feel like I can lead on Flooded Strand for an island. Which I wouldn't normally do. But I've got double Curious Obsession in hand. This could be a burn deck. I might want to conserve the life. Get basic planes on my Windswept Heath. I've got lifelink and all of that. Okay, so it's from Fist of the North Star. Yeah. I've just sold my fine wine portfolio. It has been a good day. Oh, good. Well done, man. Congratulations. What sort of wines do you collect? Is it okay? It is a Prowess deck. It's not Mill. Sorry to disappoint. Play our Windswept Heath. We'll drop our Curious Obsession. We'll attack for 2. If they look to do anything tricky with their chump block, like play a Mutagenic Growth or something, we can path their creature. If not, we can path it during their turn, which will be equally as good. What are the wine regions like over there, Mr. Krabs? Over here in Australia, we actually have very nice wine. There's different regions which are good for white, different regions which are good for red. Personally, I like red wines, Shiraz or Cave Sauv. They're my personal favourites. Our opponent going for the Mutagenic Growth. So let's let the Prowess trigger and Mutagenic Growth trigger resolve. Alright, that looks like that's all they're going for this turn. So feel pretty comfortable throwing this path out now. It also looks like my opponent's missed a land drop too, which is never a bad thing for us. Also, we drew an Arcane Flight off our Curious Obsession, so our opponent won't be able to chump block us. Ah, they've got Scourge. Oh, this Scourge is going to be dreadful. We're going to gain life and it's going to die. Ooh. Ooh, wait a minute. I've just misplayed slightly here. I can put Scourge to a 1. I'm not going to pay the life. If they have their second mutagenic growth in hand, playing Staggering Insight and attacking is almost a death sentence. I think we're probably still quite likely to win if we just go for Arcane Flight and play Staggering Insight next turn. I could have, but the Scourge would have been on 1. I think I should have done that anyway. Because like me shocking puts me to 16, right? And then I'm attacking. Oh wait, no, I would have dealt 4 damage and killed it. Never mind. I just made a really bad line. Never mind. That was very poor. All right. Well, we draw Daybreak Coronet, so better lucky than good at this stage. Alright, so it was French wine from the Bordeaux region, which is pretty much the best area for wines, yeah. Well, that's a very famous region, isn't it? Very, very famous region. Alright, we're going to take 2 damage. Opponent getting a bigger Scourge. Plays a Soul Scour Mage. Another Scourge? Oh, Unearth, damn. That's boring. Cycles Unearth without fetching first. That seems odd. Alright, so Daybreak plus a Curious Obsession, and that's just gotta be game, right? Gotta be game. Attack for 7, gain 7, draw 2. Scourge dies. And we go up to 23 from that. Alright, cool. Opponent's conceded. So against these shadow decks, so this is a Prowess shadow. Oh, this is more of a Suicide Zoo actually. I have been corrected by people in chat a little bit about this. So we're gonna want our ley lines. We're gonna want our paths. I usually take out my core Spirit Dancers against these decks because they're just always getting hit by removal spells. Echoing Truth is going to be pretty nice actually, and I think we just trim out on these Stubborn Denials, leave the Force of Negations in. Force of Negation help protect our hand if we don't have the ley line. Drop the stubs. Yep, I'm glad you agree with me, Mr. Krabs. Glad you agree. This is interesting. I'm highly considering this. We've got a guaranteed Bogle and flying. Flying's not guaranteed though. I think we can do better. Like I was saying before, these decks quite often... Alright, we have to keep this one. Drop Curious, drop Hyena Umbra, keep Path Invisible Stalker Curious, and lands. These decks will quite often play the turn 2 discard spell, although, like, so they get the Prowess trigger on their Swift Spear. But against Bogles, they'll most likely just run it out on turn 1 anyway. So Stubborn Denial loses a lot of value for an Invisible Stalker hand. Alright, here comes the black. There's the Thoughtseize. So now this game's going to be about just playing slow and until we draw a creature, pathing their creatures and just saving time, saving life. Misty Rainforest and pass. Curious Obsession, not a bad draw there. If we get a creature to put it on, we'll be in a nice place. Swift Spear. Look, if they want to deal 1 damage with the Swift Spear here and not pump it or anything, I'll just take the damage. That's fine. Yep, we'll just get a Temple Garden. Not interested in pathing just yet. Although, if I path now, it's strictly better if I top deck exactly Invisible Stalker. Alright, so nothing too exciting there. This path is probably better reserved for that Scourge creature anyway. rather than just wasting it on a Swift Spear and Scourge getting exponentially bigger. Like, Monastery Swift Spear is only going to deal a finite amount of damage. Although now they're posturing like they've got Death Shadow as well. If they're just looking to deal 1 damage a turn, I'll take it. That's fine. Opponent's still got the Companion there. Alright, they've put Lurrus into hand. Sure. I might just fetch a basic in case they have Blood Moon here. Oh, that's the wrong basic. My mouse spazzed out and jumped upwards just then. Alright, Echoing Truth, not too bad. Yeah. Grab Plains with the Strand and then play around the Boil. Oh, Boil's a very good call as well, actually, Crabs. Didn't think about that. Alright, well, this is on stack and they can't play lands. I'm going to path the Swift Spear now. Oh, wait, I should be pathing Lurrus. What am I doing? Oh, God. Okay, never mind. I'm playing very sloppy because I can path the Lurrus and then bounce the Swift Spear later when it becomes a problem. Alright, I've officially started playing badly. What with that land click and then not killing the Lurrus. Alright, we draw mana to play around Boil, as you were saying. Get that basic Plains when we need it. Now they're drawing an extra card every turn with Mishra's Bobble as well. This is like very, very silly from me. Very silly. I think I want to save Echoing Truth at the moment. They can have this 3 damage and gain 3 life. I'm not that concerned about that specifically. What are they doing now? Croxer or something? Scourge? Yeah, that's right. Okay, cool. There's the Scourge. Just buff it up a little bit for our opponent. I think we leave this Echoing Truth, wait for like combat tricks and things. It's going to be very difficult to get out at this point. Our opponent is well and truly far ahead. Opponent looking at the top card of our library with Mishra's Bobble. No longer interested in their own library. If I take all this damage, I'm just dead to Lightning Bolt. Let my opponent go to effects here. They might try to team a Battle Rage or something. Lava Dart us. Echoing Truth this thing to hand. I guess I should technically wait for them to finish doing what they're doing with Lava Dart. I kind of need to draw Path and then draw Invisible Stalker. Opponent's gained so much life, this Scourge has gone down to a 2-2. Well, we do draw the Stalker, so that's very nice. And we can make a 2-power blocker with Totem Armor, so that's pretty good. And we're pretty much, like, just need to chump block. Like, they can't attack with Lurrus, but if they attack with Scourge, obviously they've got these fetch lands, they can deal damage to themselves, they can make it bigger, but I sort of just need to chump block regardless. The unique position where my my Prowess Shadow opponent has a higher life total than I do. Yeah, the prowess from this Alright, that's gonna be game from the Lava Dart in the Grave. Damn, I didn't think of that one. They've got like exactly 7 damage. Maybe they don't attack with Lurus, or they do something funny and don't attack with Lurus. They've got a destroy enchantment effect at sorcery speed. Okie dokie. They've got it. GG. Game 3. So now that I'm on the play, I like Force of Negation less and Stubborn Denial more. Don't really like Core Spirit Dancer still, and yeah, I don't really like anything else. Let's just go. Actually, I could bring in Rest in Peace for all of their antics, but then I feel like I'm almost overboarding. I think most matches doing what they're doing will just beat them. All right, this hand's like really good. We're gonna keep it. We've got a land that doesn't hurt us, and we've got good auras. And yeah. So game 3. Fetch Shock and do nothing? That's a very bizarre opponent. Let's get down Flying. Flying is like by far the most important enchantment to get down against this deck. Then we'll go for our Ethereal Armor, which will get us past any Pyroclasm effect for 2 mana. And then Hyena Umbra can be a next turn thing. That's awesome. We attack for 4 with our Flying. Really good stuff. Lightning Bolt our face? Sure. So I guess they've got a Scourge if that's their line. Well, they're slowed right down during their turn, so it looks like they've got some decisions on what to do. Guess they're doing math and deciding whether or not Death Shadow is going to be good enough, or if they are going for Death Shadow, how low they want to make their own life total. Because obviously there's a chance that I just played, if they fetch Shock down to 10, I can just play like double Aura and kill them next turn. Alright, there is the Death Shadow. As a 1/1. So if I attack for 6, that's a 2-turn clock. That seems pretty good to me. Should technically be doing those second 2 actions in the second main, but I don't think my opponent's got any interaction. 2-turn clock, then we can just chump block the Death Shadow this turn, and then win in the next turn. And their sorcery that destroys our enchantments is a sorcery speed for 2 mana. So opponent concedes. There is the 4/1. So getting there with blue-white with a 0 Bogles. And yeah, it's really sweet. Deck seems just like really, really good to me. I really do think it seems better than the green version, honestly, because this counter magic feels good, and the card draw and Curious Obsession and Staggering Insight feels really good. Yeah, with the list, any other thoughts? Like, obviously, upgrading these Stubborn Denials to Force of Negations would be very beneficial. Maybe this Griff Spoon could become a Spirit Mantle. Make me slightly less weak against like an Engineered Explosives or a Chalice of the Void. But at the same time, Curious Obsession gets added power by being able to Slippery Bogle turn 1. Turn 2, Griff Spoon or Curious Obsession with an Arcane Flight or Griff Spoon. And then hit with Flying, draw that card. So yeah, I think the deck's good. I think with when I save up the tickets to get more forces as well, I'm going to be able to counter more Chalice of the Voids, more Ensnaring Bridges, and those cards are just going to matter less and less. Mr. Krabs, you'll be honest, you much prefer Selesnya Bogles? Yeah. I definitely understand that, and for a very long time, I enjoyed Selesnya better as well. But the thing you have to understand about the two decks are they are different decks, and they do different things. So, like, I'd say blue-white, which has access to counter magic, probably has a more favorable matchup against Mill. I haven't tested it enough yet, but I know it has a significantly more favored matchup against Storm, against Ad Nauseam, and those are like really bad matchups for Bogles. So it depends on the metagame as to what version of the deck I think you choose. Like, I still play both. I still think both are good. I think I just prefer this one at the moment. So yeah, that's the deck there, guys. I am going to stop the video and the stream here. So thank you all for watching. Really appreciate both Mr. Krabs and Amatnik getting involved in chat. If you want to watch more content like this, be sure to follow my stream. Be sure to look up my YouTube as well. It's Foul Play MTG on YouTube. I have left a link for it on my Twitch as well. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I had a really good time. I hope I get to see you guys again soon. Thanks. Have a good night, everyone, or good day. Bye.